What's up there, YouTube? It's the Chi here, listening to Opeth's album Damnation in my time of need. Saw this live, it was amazing. Anyways, we're going to talk about the most prickly of subjects, love. Yep, that's right, love. Kind of already finished up thought control. We'll probably talk a little bit more about some little snippets are left out, but for the most part, it's all good. So, um, anyways, before we go into love, we're gonna have to talk about my deterministic philosophy on life. Determinism is where everything is actually a byproduct of chemical stimuli. Like, for instance, the only reason why you think you have the free will to like get up and go get some food when you're sitting down, but actually it's just like a chemical impulse in your brain telling you that you're hungry, and then you just like follow that chemical impulse and then go to the fridge and then fucking go get some food. And then like people say you have the free will to like choose food, but actually you don't because then there's other chemical stimuli and like your memory of like what food was good and like you know the chemicals that are actually in that food and their associations of different emotions, and I don't know, it's very fucking complicated. But anyways, um, basically free will is an illusion, and you're all just fucking chemical stimuli. And however, that's a hardcore like determinist view, and I see it as I'm a soft determinist in that you actually do have free will, but you can overcome the stimuli. You can overcome the chemical because you can actually, you know, if you want to, you can just go, no, you know what? I'm fucking I'm hungry, but I'm gonna sit here anyways. I'm gonna choose to sit here, and some would argue that that's just like the chemical wanting to prove that you have free will. Well, if that's a fucking chemical that can override other chemicals, and you're consciously in control of that chemical, how is that not free will? You know? So free will isn't something that you're just granted. Free will is something you earn. So it's a little different take on the whole concept, and this really plays into love because love is the ultimate chemical stimuli. I mean, a lot of people think they're in love with someone when they're really not. They're in love with the feeling. They're in love with lust. They're in love with themselves, or they're in love with the illusion of the other person. And you'll notice this. You notice this a lot in a lot of fucking relationships. But to put it simply, I think love is understanding. It's the most simplest way to put it. Love is understanding. And in order to have love, however, in order to understand, you need empathy, communication, and trust. Those are fucking three fucking really important points to love. And you're gonna have to fucking overcome some infatuation, in order to find love. You'll notice that there's like that fucking quote, "Be yourself," and a lot of people don't actually listen to that. They're like, "Oh, be myself." Yeah, sure, I'll just be myself. When they're showing uh, themselves to some other person, but no one actually heeds the advice. No one is actually themselves, or maybe not no one, but I would say majority of people, because most people hide behind these masks, these illusions of themselves, and they present them as these masks to these other people. So all of a sudden they're not themselves. They're this illusionary character, and then that the person falls in love or is infatuated with this illusionary character. And then all of a sudden they wonder why the relationship starts to fail as they get to know each other better, because all of a sudden they aren't that person. That was just a fucking gimmick to have that person latch onto you. So if you are, a searcher of love, a searcher of truth, if that is your fucking main quest in life, then be yourself. That's fucking really simple. Um, Now, in order to overcome infatuation, you're gonna have to actually actively communicate, truthfully communicate, not just fucking like there's this quote in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind where he's just like, talking continuously is not communication. Communication is actually like getting points across. Uh, So, but empathy is another big one. Empathy is basically not sympathy, completely different. A lot of people try to sympathize with someone, and sympathization is where you don't actually understand what they're going through, but you just kind of like feel bad for them or whatever. You're giving them sympathy. Empathy is actually knowing what they have gone through and actively feeling their emotions, their pain, their sorrow, or their joy or happiness, any of these things. That's empathy. And if you want to have a true communication, you're going to have that understanding. You're going to have that empathy. And it's really hard because, like, when you think about that quote, before you judge someone, walk, like put yourself in their shoes. But there's a longer part where it's like, and then walk a mile in those shoes. And then the way I like to think of it is like, don't just fucking walk in their shoes with your mindset. Like, think as if how they would think, because how can you even begin to know about anyone if you don't even know like what's going on in their fucking head, how they fucking feel about things? Because if you're just presenting your frame of mind, your mindset onto someone else's life, then it's just like you in their situation. That's completely different. That's not empathy, that's sympathy. So if you want to begin to empathize, you have to literally imagine yourself in that position and then imagine yourself from their perspective. And you'll also notice that a lot of fucking relationships have a degreeing level of selfishness. Like, people like, hang out with me now. Why are you going over there? And that's a form of not having trust. You need to have trust. If I have a very like libertarian philosophy on love, and I think libertarianism can be applied to a lot of different things. But it's simply put freedom. Like you can't fucking control someone. You have to let them do and make their own decisions. If they made a decision to not be with you, then that is their will. Like, you cannot fucking choose. You cannot force them to be with you. So having them trying to like constantly control them and control where they go, who they talk to, these things, that's not love. That's fear. And you're fearing the loss of that chemical. And you have to understand too, love is like fucking heroin. It's addictive. That chemical, that fucking chemical release that you feel, that is almost as strong as heroin. And actually, if you do a brain scan, um, love fucking looks exactly the same as a heroin addict in someone's head. So, anyways, basically, you have to eliminate selfishness. You have to be selfless, and it's sort of like a group effort. Like, for instance, in A Beautiful Mind, he talks about in a like in his number theory, where the group doesn't necessarily have to be like most people act in selfishness, but if everyone acts in the interest of themselves and the group, everyone wins. So when you're in this group, this fucking relationship, you need to be selfless or selfish a little bit, to the point where like you want, affection, you want these other fucking feelings and things like that. But you also need to be able to give them too, you can't just fucking it's not like a one-way street. This isn't just, sadomasochist or something along those lines. And a lot of people will fall under, the whole boredom routine stance, and this happens a lot in marriage. I think marriage is just another fucking, institution. It's bullshit, and but marriage is good in its own ways. And in order to break out of boredom and routine, mix things up. Change your frame of mind and try things that are completely new. And you're gonna have to be willing to change with that person, because people do not stay the same over time. And if you're gonna fucking want to be with someone, you're gonna have to actively change with them, and that's the most difficult part. Because once someone changes, man, everything's different. So stay classy, San Diego. We'll go over this later.